Welcome, everyone, and happy Friday. It's Film Threat Livecast on a Friday. It's our Friday Film Threat Livecast. Coming up on the show today, we'll be talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer, or Barbenheimer, plus some strike updates as well and how this affects us. Additionally, the fallout from the shocking verdicts in the Critics' Court trial against Disney and Lucasfilm for the murder of the Star Wars franchise. The verdicts were shocking. We will talk about it. We will discuss it. Plus, new films opening in theaters, Haunted Mansion from Disney, along with the Secret Invasion finale and a little horror film from two Australian filmmakers, they're brothers. A movie called Talk to Me from A24. Plus, Alan will be here. I know you got excited for a second because you thought for a minute Alan, like Alan from the Barbie movie, that was one of the best parts of the Barbie movie, which was Alan. No, Alan-ing will be here. I think Alan-ing should be just as popular as Alan, played by Michael Cera. But let's get things started. We've got your also chat comments and questions, super chats that we missed recently. It's going to be a big show today. Let's go. This almost never happens. Alan is late. I don't know what the deal is.
Now this just in, police officers in Lancaster, Pennsylvania were asking people to be on the lookout for a man who robbed a store. And I think we do have his description. Can we take that? Let's take his description.
All right, he's still not here. I have no idea.
Alan!
There he is.
Yeah. Again, you could have just taken a real picture of me.
No, that was put together by Leo Cody, who does a lot of our little funny videos. And you are here. We survived. Yeah. Hey, yeah. I want to point out, I am wearing a Star Trek themed Film Threat shirt, which is available at shop.filmthreat.com. This is, of course, we should talk about the trial.
By the way, happy Pride to you as well.
Hey, it's July. It's nearly August. I can, this is based on Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Don't you recognize this graphic?
I'm very familiar with that movie.
Yes. All right, let's see who's in the chat. We're just going to say hi to some folks really quick. Oh my God, everybody's here. This is crazy. Some quick super chats here. Got my Blu-ray today, says GJJ for 5. Thank you. A lot of people receiving their Blu-rays. They're going out in waves. We're ahead, but we should have everything shipped by the first week of August. So please be patient with us. Please be patient. There you go. Let's see. Enrico Palazzo for 5. Congrats on the trial conclusion. Rewatched The Best of Times, 1986 last night. Still think it's underappreciated. Retribution Zero says, love the shirt, Chris. Hey, get your own. Get your own. Shop.filmthreat.com. I saw Barbie last night and my theater was packed crazy, says Kevin Plopper. Lawrence Gillespie says, nice Star Trek-ish t-shirt. Well, thank you. English Batchers, I liked Oppie, too long though, but I have zero interest in Barbie. Fair point. No Money G for 10. Got my Attack of the Doc Blu-ray signed by the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Gore. Thank you for 10. No Money G. I'm unfortunately I have to report the whole signing the Blu-ray thing is complicated things to the point where like it's like broken our system. So we had to have an option. Rather than like this whole email me and then I contact the guy and sometimes like you can buy the Blu-ray of Attack of the Doc or you can buy the Blu-ray of Attack of the Doc signed. And there is an additional charge for that. And my apologies. That was the way the people that are handling all the actual physical shipping of the Blu-rays, we had to come up with a way to distinguish it. But thank you for that, No Money G. You have a rare disc now. So there you go. From Rumble, BMO Better sub supporter. Hail Frank Gore. Hail Allening. Hail to all the crunchy beavers. Hail Film Threat 199. Solomon Thornton, thank you for that. Solomon Thornton says, Film Threat Friday, yay. Lawrence Gillespie says, justice for Ken. Should we?
I don't think he wrote it the way you said it.
What?
The way you said yay, I think he was a little more enthusiastic when he typed that.
Okay, well, does he say, yeah?
Right.
You can hear, can't you hear that I'm pre-coffee?
Just saying.
All right. Let's see. On American Pickers, they met with 3 generations of stop motion movie experts. A past colleague Wei Chang, Chinese, sculpted the first Barbie in the 50s, says Eric Stratton for 777. That's awesome. Thank you for that. Can I get Olivia Munn's phone number? Says Zlak Onion for 2.
He did give you $2.
I might still have her phone number in my phone, but I'm positive it's like a manager's number, not her number.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. We're going to get early, gang. Hail, says John Manalang. Wizard Shaq says, very much don't care about no haunted mansion. Well, I can't wait to hear what Alan thinks of it.
Yeah.
What's good, Film Threat people? TGIFT, let's go, says Imperfect. And it's 9 a.m. Where's Ellen? Al? Where are you, Alan?
Hi, Dad, I miss you.
Well, there you go. Retribution Zero says, love the shirt. I'm glad you do. So Alan said that people were going to make fun of me with this shirt. I say Alan was wrong. Alan was wrong on that. So I can't wait for Film Threat to start. We should do, Alan, what do you think of this? Let's do a Film Threat shirt in pink with the Barbie script lettering.
Oh, yeah.
Would you wear that?
I would not wear that, but we should do it. Maybe when we hit 169,000.
Cool. Let's see. A couple more super chats. We're going to kick it off. Lots to talk about. Got my copy of Attack of the Dock. I also picked up the Venture Brothers movie and Resident Evil Death Island. I am in for some good watches. Hail to you too. Thanks, says Tommy Reviews for 5. Tommy, there's 28 and a half hours of content on the Attack of the Dock Blu-ray. You are not going to get to those other 2 discs. So if you want to watch everything that's on the Attack of the Dock Blu-ray, good luck. And there is an Easter egg on every menu page. So there you go. Nicholas Vargo, hey, for $9.99. Can't stay for the show today, but want to send my best. Seen Oppenheimer twice in both an IMAX Dome and standard 70mm, and seeing it again on Sunday in IMAX 70mm. Best movie of the year so far. Well, thank you, Nicholas, for that. We're going to hear what Alan thinks of Oppenheimer today because he didn't get to see it last week. It's a crazy week with San Diego Comic-Con. But thank you for that, Nicholas. That's awesome. Wow, 3 times. That's great. You should get a pin for that. And Lord Thoth, one of our trusty mods, thank you, Lord Thoth, says like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and join us as a member. That's right. You can, if you join us as a member, you'll get access to our Discord and exclusive videos like Alan painting his room is an exclusive. Some of the members
you didn't do the packaging stream that you promised.
Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done because I just had to sign I signed 100 discs yesterday. It's been a whirlwind. So I'm a little under the weather. I think it's from Comic-Con actually, but there you go. So let's kick things off. Let's get things started right here with the Critics Court. Star Wars trial verdict shocks industry. Alan, what do you think of this?
I'm blown away. I didn't think it would go. I didn't think the verdict would go the way it did, but it did. I'm shocked. Trial of the century. Definitely.
Okay, it's the trial of the millennium. But and you know what? I am so gratified by this. Echo Base Network, which is one of the best Star Wars related channels. They do Star Wars news. I love that, like, on Echo Base Network, almost all of their thumbnails are like massive Star Wars update. It's usually not massive, but I always click. I always click when they say that. So you got me. But what they did was they did their own stream reacting to our verdicts. So they were live streaming it. They would mute and then they would comment on what was happening. And they did the entire show for 2 hours.
Oh, that's great.
Live, like a real trial. This was always my goal. My goal was always that the trial would come to a place where other channels were commenting on it like it was a real trial. My wish came true. But it was a lot of fun. We the one interesting thing is, well, a couple things. One, you know, we were making it up as we went along. I'm going to admit we made this stuff up as we went along, but we made improvements. I feel like we were making improvements, like, oh, let's do this and that. We're gonna be making even more improvements for the next trial. In fact, Alan and I are getting whole makeovers of our systems. I got us new microphones. We're professionalizing Film Threat even more. The next trial will be Star Trek as chosen by you, the jury, which I'm very excited about because, I mean, what's the biggest science fiction franchise next to Star Wars? Obviously, Star Trek. We're coming up with the counts. Is going to be very interesting. We will start discussing. We will announce a date for the trial. I'll tell you exactly when we're going to do it. We're going to announce a date for the Star Trek trial once Film Threat surpasses 100,000 subs. We're less than, it's like 12,000 subs away, 12,000 plus subs away from 100,000. Once we get to 100,000 subs, we will announce the start date for the Star Trek trial. It will not be as long as Star Wars, which went 3 months. It'll probably be more like 6 to 8 weeks. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Alan? Other improvements and things that we can make, but we will announce the new trial date, start date for Star Trek once we hit 100,000 subs. Alan, thoughts on improvements, things we could do better, and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest discussion we've had with people is it's the defense. We need to find someone who could really defend these things. And you know, I would just say that we've gotten a lot of requests, but you need some experience being on the internet and talking on the internet. So now's a good time to start practicing.
Well, this is the thing is we want real fans, but you've got to have a good microphone, a decent lighting setup. You can't just do it from your bedroom. We want, you know, it's about the presentation. We were with some of the big YouTubers, like, who've always been off camera. I don't have a problem with them not being on camera. But I don't think we'll do that. If you're going to be on the show, we want to see who you are. But if it comes to someone like, say, a Mauler or, you know, Doomcock, like, they're personas.
Known for not being on camera.
Yeah, they're known for not being on camera, so that's different. Although I will say, Doomcock actually dressed up for court. He had a graphic of himself that was like in a suit, which was really cool. Same thing with Lofty Pixels. So that's different because there was precedent set. But anyone else, we're not going to do that. You have to be on camera. I already have reached out to people. Like, I have people coming to me now saying, can I do this? Can we do this? The stuff that we're going to do for the Star Trek show, like, is going to blow away the Star Wars trial. And I think, you know, we came to the conclusion of, you know, Kathleen Kennedy is not wanted at Disney Star Wars. And there was something that went wrong on the show. No one would know this unless I pointed it out. Originally, we were going to have Chrissy Mayer in a wig as Kathleen Kennedy in an orange jumpsuit with a policeman was going to put handcuffs on her and take her away. And she was going to give this big speech, but the timing didn't work out. I mean, we even moved the trial a little later so more people could watch. Like, we're trying to find that sweet spot, but
yeah, we got some good numbers actually doing it later.
We had it did well, But let me just say that, God, having Chrissy Mayer like in an orange jumpsuit, being put into handcuffs, giving a speech as Kathleen Kennedy would have been the ultimate. It would have been the ultimate. So didn't happen, but it is what it is. So let's see if we have any comments on the trial here. No specific comments on the trial, but I'll just say it was a lot of fun, and get ready for Star Trek. Get ready for Star Trek. Oh, and it has been requested that we do a Critics Court t-shirt. We will do it. We will do it. We'll probably do the shirt when we surpass 100,000 subs. We'll do the shirt. We'll announce when the new trial is. I hope we do it before the end of the year. It's possible that we will not. It's possible it'll be 2024.
Let's see. Geek True 64 I can't wait for Star Trek. That's my franchise.
Hey, let's get to 100,000 subs and the Star Trek. Yeah, Joseph said Doomcock might eventually be right too. Fair point. So there you go. All right. I have a few other things that I want to discuss before we get to Barbie. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, wait, you didn't put it in the thing.
I didn't put what?
Here. My gavel is going into a velvet case until we do the trial. I have to do this. Sorry, Alan.
No problem.
Here we go. I need to talk about this because I have discovered a few things. It's important. It is important that we discuss it. So here we go, because I care about the truth. I care about the truth, and I want people to know about this. Let's talk about the strike. A freaking IKEA chair. Hollywood is on strike. Everything is shut down. The only films being made now are from A24. Animation is moving ahead, but certain movies, for example, The Marvels and Dune Part 2, are on the bubble. If the strike continues past September, those movies may not release this year. And things were looking up because Barbie and Oppenheimer have ignited the box office in a huge way, which is exciting for everybody. But I think it's important that we look at the long-term big picture of all of this. So I'm going to bring up a tweet. No, excuse me. Wait.
What?
Nothing. I cut and paste the wrong thing. So let me bring this up real quickly here. Damn it. I don't. Okay. Hang on. I have to find this Instagram post. Just give me a minute. Alan, stall.
Yeah, let's vamp a bit.
Huh?
Let's see. One Punch Man Tolkien fan. You can still do that with Chrissy Mayer. Even better, race swap KK with X-Ray Girl and put her in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. Could have done that.
I could have done that. All right, no, I found it. Yeah.
Imperfect says, Chris, hurry.
There. Here we go. Suspense. All right, here we go. I saw this, and this started, people are talking about this. Thoughts on the strike from Andrew Schultz. Okay. Andrew Schultz wrote this. I got to zoom in, right?
Yeah.
So you guys can see this better. Okay. Can you see what's on the screen?
Barely. There you go.
Is that better? Okay, cool. This is Andrew Schultz on Instagram. And Andrew Schultz says, thoughts on the Hollywood strike. The real issue is that actors and writers want fair residual payments from the streamers. In order to define what is fair, the streamers will need to share how many people are actually watching their shows. And here lies the problem. Okay, Number 2, this is 5 parts. Number 2, my suspicion is that the streamers are refusing to share the viewership numbers, not because they're being cheap, but because no one is watching. And revealing extremely low viewership would kill the stock price. So, number 3, if most of these streamers are losing money in an effort to gain market share, the only justification for their spending is their stock price being high. Once that stock price tanks with the real viewership numbers, the streamers will have to cut back on spending, which means 4, way less shows will be greenlit, and the budgets for those shows will be severely reduced, which means way less acting gigs and writing gigs. So essentially, if the actors and directors strike is successful by making the streamers release their real viewership, the strike will essentially force the streamers to hire less actors and directors. So they're striking themselves out of work. Just a hunch, though. Just a hunch. So there you have it. Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think Robert Meyer Burnett even did a recent video on this as well. But there's a lot of truth to this. I think we heard that maybe that there's a war in the Producers Guild or Producers Alliance between the streamers and the studios. And when your streamers are Netflix, Amazon, and Apple, you're in big trouble because they can ride out the wave. Their entertainment wing makes very little money compared to the real money they make. And so I think there might be a civil war going on within the Producers Guild soon because the studios, Disney, Warner Brothers, they need money. They need to start making some money. And in terms of stock prices, they're already down. I mean, Warner Brothers, I believe, is at $14, and Disney is at an all-time low. So how much more money are you going to lose? How much more can it drop? So at some point, everyone's just got to come clean. The authenticity is the key here. Just lay it out. Stop trying to hide. Stop trying to project a certain image. Just get to the truth of the matter, and then fix the problem. And that's been the problem with politics, with culture, is no one is willing to talk about the truth of things. And once you get to the truth, you can fix the problem. And until that happens, we're at a stalemate. I
think that applies to a lot of things, not just the strike.
Yeah, politics the same way.
Yeah, politics, same thing. Here you go from on Twitter. Can you see this? Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's just pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Misha Da Vinci, who I follow, recommend. Hollywood is broken. Striking alone won't fix it. A whole new business model is required. A thread. I'm going to go through some of this. Hollywood is owned by massive media conglomerates. It's a business model that ruthlessly exploits the talent that is the lifeblood of the industry. You've got a whole bunch of logos here of corporations. Over the last decade, the bulk of TV moved from broadcast and cable to streaming. In the transition, writers, actors, and other creatives were methodically stripped of their rights and compensation. Misha goes on. Writers have been battered by low residuals, a lack of streaming data information, job insecurity, and more. They are bringing in less money overall, despite a content boom of more shows and more platforms. And she reposts something from a woman named Valentina Garza with a residual check of 3 cents. I have gotten ones for like 12 cents, 20 cents, I think from being on Attack of the Show, actually. There's a bar in Burbank that you can go to. I forget the name of the bar. You can bring your residual check. If it's under $1, you just give it to them. They staple it to the wall and you get a free beer. So our wages have been falling in the last years as the streamers' profits have been skyrocketing. Writer Amanda Mercedes tells Today.com from an article. For actors, residuals have all but disappeared. Streaming services are not providing adequate residual payments to actors in successfully streamed shows, says Brian Cox. There's a video for reference. This tweet thread Misha Da Vinci puts in the references to what she's talking about. We are fighting for the livelihood of working people. At some point, we have to say no, says SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher. Now add AI to the mix. You have a formula that extracts everything from the talent, giving nothing in return. Writers are fighting to ensure that AI does not degrade their craft. Studios could have fewer people in the writer's room with AI writing content that is later edited by a writer. They could use AI to draft a first draft and then bring in someone else to do a second draft. We've talked about that. One of the sticking points that forced the actor strike was this. The AMPTP wants to use AI to capture the likeness of actors, pay them a day rate, and then own and use that likeness forever. Yes, that is BS. I am on the actor's side on that point. You can't just license the right to an actor and just use it willy-nilly. They want to scan our image now and offer one-day wages, says Brandon J. Karmati. 1 day of work that is reused forever. It's a proposal straight out of Black Mirror, like that first episode of the new season. As AI advances, these problems will only intensify exponentially. The rights of creatives and talent will be destroyed altogether. What's needed is a whole new business model. I agree. Indie film might be that business model. It's time for writers, actors, editors, costume designers, set decorators, makeup artists, and everyone on a project to own what they create. Funding should come directly from sources that support the talent, not those that exploit them. Innovators have been experimenting with Web3, looking for ways to improve how Hollywood operates. Web3 allows projects to be funded directly by audiences, communities, and fans. Companies like Legion M and creatives can own what they create and benefit from their work in perpetuity. For example, I made this movie Attack of the Dog. I have licensed the rights to a distributor, Indie Rights, who owns the digital rights for 3 years. I own the movie forever. This is called independent film. It was not funded by a corporation. It was funded with the generous support of backers who then got a copy of the film, and I own the movie, along with other film partners who helped make the film. You know who you are. Steven Soderbergh has long been exploring better ways to fund his projects. In 2022, he teamed up with crypto-powered film fund Decentralized Pictures to launch a $300,000 grant on the blockchain film financing platform. Francis Ford Coppola has also joined the decentralized film movement with DCP Foundation. By the way, decentralized film movement, it's called independent film. Stoner Cats is a Mila Kunis animated series about a groovy elder woman and her 5 feline friends. It's a successful experiment in alternative financing using Web3 and NFTs. And look, I never knew Stoner Cats existed. In this episode, okay, she goes on and on. She's basically citing examples of people who've recreated the model, but it's a fancy new word for independent film. The model for independent film used to be this. The model used to be that you got financing independently or you funded it yourself, you made the independent film, and then you sold it to a company. That's not the case now. Independent filmmakers don't need a distributor. You can go direct through self-distribution through companies like Film Hub and Indie Rights, among others. We must support the strikers, but let's not stop there. Let's embrace the technology and business model that provides the long-term solution that Hollywood needs. It's basically the model that used to be called United Artists. Alan, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think we talked about it at Comic-Con in our indie survival panel. Hollywood is no longer the goal. You know, if you're a filmmaker, you know, you've got to, you know, there are alternatives out there. It's going to be tougher. You're going to have to do a lot more selling. You're going to have to become a businessman. But Hollywood is not the goal. And, you know, when you latch yourself into Hollywood, they're going to own your work. They're going to call the shots. And if you're lucky, they'll promote your film. And, you know, and then, you know, I don't know. It's like the budgets of these movies have just become so inflated. And that's one thing that has led to this strike. You know, how does Elemental cost $250 million?
Exactly.
How do all these Marvel movies go into the $500 million range? And of course, when they see the money that the studios are spending, of course, the actors and writers are going to wonder, where's their cut? You know, if their film costs $300 million to make, how come they didn't make $100 million off of it? You know, and I think you're right. I think the studios, I think the producers are trying to raise Hollywood to the ground, you know, and I think as independent filmmakers, we need to see that coming and take advantage of that.
I agree. I've always said independent is the way to go. That is the very message of Film Threat for the last 38 years. Since 1985. We actually have a t-shirt that says since 1985.
Yeah.
Let me go to your comments and questions.
Let me just bring up Eric July. I mean,
sorry. Yeah.
He's talked about he's not going to sell Isom to the studios.
But he could do an independent film. And, you know, the whole thing is a collab. You collaborate and whatnot. I don't think corporations are capable of doing anything cheaply, but independent filmmakers know how to do it, because I believe independent filmmakers are much more responsible when it comes to capital allocation. That's all it is. How are you spending your money? And when it's your money or you're invested, it matters. And some interesting news that I just learned this morning is that the filmmakers, or the studio Angel Studios, it was on Tim Pool's show last night, which I didn't watch, but I saw the clip. Tim Pool suggested, hey, you should talk to Eric July, and Angel Studios like, oh, we'll talk to him. About doing a collaboration with Angel Studios, who did Sound of Freedom. They could work with Eric July to do an Isom movie, an Isom animated project. You need partners. I can't do Attack of the Doc by myself. I can't stuff every envelope, even though I've done most of it so far. Let's just say, look, I've people helping me. You know, filmmaking is a team sport. It's a team sport. And if you're going to do stuff, yes, you should remain independent. You should own your content. At the same time, you need other partners. So you got to partner up with people.
Yeah, let me pull up Lawrence Gillespie's comment here. This is why the media is attacking Sound of Freedom. It's not about protecting pedos. It's that it was released by an independent distributor. I just got an email from Angel Studios saying that they have just increased the number of theaters that Sound of Freedom is playing in this weekend.
Here's what's going to be shocking. When award season comes along and this movie, it deserves to win awards. It deserves at least nominations. Yeah. It checks all the boxes. And people that don't champion this film, I question their judgment. I question their biases. So. Yeah.
Well, man, look, if there is an award season, there's not going to be much there. And so Sound of Freedom could slip in. Yeah. And then I just got word that The Chosen season 4 just got SAG waivers. And so they're going to continue. Oh, that's great. Let's go to your comments and questions regarding this topic. I think those between the tweet and that Instagram post, and we'll put the links in the description for this episode. I promise that. Remind me, Ms. P. Coffee, to do that. Remind me. And to put the updated link for our Discord for our new members. We got a lot of new members on during our court case. The court finale. The season finale, not the series finale. The Rainbow Wizard for 1999. Hollywood has become too big to fail, just like Wall Street. The elites think through AI and technology, they will maintain control. They are wrong. Everything is connected. Out with the old, in with the new. Thank you, the Rainbow Wizard. Thank you for your generous super chat. I agree with you. I have been saying this forever. You can throw a little fancy word on it. It's throw a little fancy word like what was the fancy word that she used? The whole what do they call it? The movement? They're calling it decentralized. Decentralized. Okay, I get it. Decentralized. This is independent film. They like to make up fancy words for this stuff. Thundarius for 5. My buddies raised money and made their first feature-length indie horror movie. How can I get you a copy to view? I think you'd really enjoy it. Very simple. Very simple.
you go to filmthreat.com, excuse me, filmthreat.com, and there's a little button in the top that says submit your film. Okay. I thought I had a little ticker for that, but I don't. Could you make one, Alan?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. So a little banner, put it in the Film Threat Livecast. So you just go to filmthreat.com. On the very top, there's a button that says submit. Click on it. We get, just to be fair, we get hundreds of movies submitted every week. We have approximately 30 writers that are freelance, and Alan and maybe one or two other editors that help. Okay. That is Film Threat. It seems like this big organization, and the 30 writers contribute maybe 4 or 5 reviews each a month. So if you do the math, we're covering less than half the movies submitted. So if you want to support Film Threat, go to filmthreat.com/submit-project, and you could submit your movie. If you would like a guaranteed review within 7 to 10 days, you can pay a small fee. Some don't think it's small. I think it's fair because it's basically you're paying to promote your movie, and you get bumped to the front of the line. It's a way to level the playing field, because we get hit up by publicists all the time that want to, they want us to review their film. And then we've got the big movies, right? So we're trying to keep up with the films that are in commercial release. So in order to support, and Film Threat has no corporate sponsors whatsoever. So we are supported by the community. So if you've made an independent film, you can spend thousands of dollars submitting to film festivals. You may not even get a rejection letter. If you support Film Threat by paying our Fast Pass fee, we will review your film within 7 to 10 days. And more than likely, the person that's going to review it, that person might be Alan. Well, there you go. So
I certainly do a lot of them, yes.
Well, Alan is reviewing movies like every day. It's
oh my gosh.
I love reading your reviews. All right, back to more comments here about this topic. Slayer 96 DA second for 2. When I get back home, I'll make a Goody Bud movie. Well, that's fun. Fear the Turtle, 21 for 10. Saw MI7 last weekend, and the theater as a whole was easily the most crowded I've seen in a theater since before COVID. Obviously, all for Barbie and Oppenheimer, and it was very cool to see. Also, MI7 was great. Zlack Onion for 5. With the writer strike going on, who is writing this show? Well, Alan and I are both kind of independent, so nobody. Hey, Ryan Cannell is here. Ryan Cannell says, I think that's spot on. Yeah, decentralized is independent film. That's what it is. Thanks.
I think I will say, I think it refers to the financing end of independent film.
Right. The financing end. God, my voice is crazy. All right, I'm going to start from the bottom here. Chris, have you watched my Picard edit? Gave it to you in Dallas, the Geek and I podcast. I have not, but I do have your flash drive. It's very generous. I haven't watched it yet. I can't wait. Thank you so much. I might be back in Dallas for Anime Matsuri. I might. I will let you know. John Long, last name. Joe Bob Briggs has been pushing this as well. Anti-Hollywood for years. All of his indie film contest, a stipulation is zero money of any kind from Hollywood. Yeah, Joe Bob Briggs. There's a lot of people. Joe Bob Briggs, Charlie Band with Full Moon Entertainment. Lloyd Kaufman with Trauma Films. So, a lot of people. I have been pushing indie film since 1985. That is the very mission statement and purpose of Film Threat. So, yeah, a lot of people have been saying this. Alan's exactly right. Hollywood is a creative prison, says Want Biscuits. Geek Juice 64. I don't think there is as much money in Hollywood as people perceive. Becoming more transparent on finances destroys the illusion of prestige. It is a lie. A friend of mine described it as a lie. He said it's a lie, but you want to perpetuate it, and then you sort of bring your friends up. But it's like that thing of you're going to go to Hollywood and fulfill your dream. It's all bullshit. Big Jack Gameplays. I bet most actors and actresses that complain about the industry diss the whole independent film scene, says Big Jack Gameplays. I'm sure they do. From Rumble. I think Angel Studios' success with Sound of Freedom may bring more awareness of non-Hollywood independent companies. Well, there's a movie last year, Terrifier 2. Damian Leone was on this very show. And he said, he basically said that, he raised money for Terrifier 2. It was $250,000. It was released in theaters. It made $11 million for a $250,000, horror film.
Yeah. Well, and Legion M is there's a new model. Legion M is kind of leading it. That's the equity funded films.
Correct.
A piece of it.
Correct.
I talked to a filmmaker yesterday who's going through WeFunder, who is the same, uses the same idea of equity where you participate in the revenue. And so even that aspect of funding is evolving. Yeah. And so again, this is an exciting time for independent filmmakers, and now is a time to strike as an independent filmmaker. Yeah.
Imperfect says Sound of Freedom is more proof that we don't need Hollywood. The Introspect M, actors do need protections of their likenesses. That really has nothing to do with AI, though. If you're afraid of AI, write better material. If AI writes worse, then you have nothing to be afraid of, says the Introspect M. Imperfect says streaming was built on legacy content. They had a couple years of good original content, but not enough to maintain the industry. A couple more. Hollywood saw what Apple did to the music industry, and in an effort to avoid the same fate, they've overspent on the giant folly that is streaming, says Alan Horkin. And Geek Truth 64, you are already seeing some of the streaming companies retract. Paramount added Showtime, HBO became Max because of Discovery and TLC, etc. So there you are. We're going to leave it there. We have a lot to discuss today. We're going to do fewer chat comments between reviews because we have so much to discuss. Yeah. So probably just your best comments and super chats. And then we have a super chat square up at the end of the show for super chats we missed last week. And my apologies for that. So let's talk about it. We're going to get Alan's Oppenheimer review in a minute, but I want to talk about, Alan, you've seen Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Alan has seen the
Did you see it? Didn't you say you saw it?
Guess what? I didn't. I didn't. But Alan, you saw Secret Invasion finale. What's your final verdict on this season?
Yeah, no, this is the worst Disney Plus show they have. And look, we've already talked about the racial aspects of it. This whole show is just dumb and is ill-conceived, and I will tell you why. Look, the Secret Invasion in the comic books is something I remember. I'm sure a lot of you remember it. There was, the idea was basically half of your Marvel superheroes have been living on Earth as Skrulls, and no one knew it. And then all of a sudden, everyone who was replaced by Skrull shows up, and now they have to root out all who is the Skrull and things like that. This one, it's supposed to be based on that because there's some built-in tension there. In this one, look, half of the people on Earth, or millions of people on Earth, who you don't know and have never heard of, might be Skrulls, and this is how the entire series is based on it. There's no tension there. Oh, here's a character. Are they a Skrull or not? Who cares? There's, is that a person a Skrull? Who cares? They shapeshift, fine, but this show is an exercise in how to take an idea and not build upon it. The Marvel elements of it just weakened it by the end of it. There's just no reason to really care about it. Look, spoiler alert, but the whole idea was that they're going to create these super Skrulls. They're going to infuse them with the DNA of heroes. The main super Skrull, the main Skrull wants the harvest, which is the DNA of every single superhero that exists. And in the process, of course, that person gets infused along with Emilia Clarke's character, who and so now you have this battle between the super Skrulls who have been empowered by every Marvel superhero. that sounds cool on paper, but in execution, it just didn't work. And I'll tell you why. They saved their animation budget to the end, and this battle just looked horrible. And it just meant it became this kind of, hey, let's have Emilia Clarke show off every single power that all the superheroes have, and it just falls flat. And so again, who cares? Carlos Alfredo Lopez, Alan summed it up in the series real well. Who cares?
Well, what's going to be weird is when the Marvels comes out, and the Marvels connects to WandaVision because of the origin of Photon. The Marvels connects to the Captain Marvel movie because of Nick Fury, and to Secret Invasion, and the Marvels connects to Ms. Marvel, which is a show nobody watched. So you have all these pre-existing properties that, in order to watch the Marvels and fully understand what's going on, you need to have seen all this past stuff. Someone suggested that I think it was one of the producers of the Arrow series on the CW said Marvel just needs to do a hard reboot, just completely hard reboot the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and just start fresh. You could even recast Iron Man and Captain America, start a new thing, or as has been suggested many times, just go back to the 60s, do the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and classic Avengers, and have it all set in the 60s. And you know what? Nobody cares. It's a new universe. It's a different Earth, or whatever you could just say. It doesn't matter. They have told the story of the Marvel Cinematic Universe here. Tell another story in a different part, and you're unburdened by all this stuff. The idea that there's continuity between all these things, what James Gunn is planning to do, is not a good idea. Turns out it's not a good idea. And I never liked this idea when it came to comic books. When it came to comic books, I didn't like this. I just wanted to read the 12 issues of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Okay, I just want to read those 12. There were so many connecting crossover in this comic, and you had to read this from Supergirl issue whatever. I don't want that. I want to read the 12 issues. Tell me a story in 12 issues.
Right. Well, this was the problem with Secret Invasion. It wasn't written by comic book people.
Right.
And you can tell by the way they tried to build suspense, the way they tried to give us comic book moments, and it was clearly written by hacks. And I'll say this: no one talks about it, but early on when Marvel Studios was created, they had the Marvel Creative Committee, Joe Quesada, Brian Michael Bendis, a whole bunch of other people, and they were kind of overseeing it until Kevin Feige finally kicked them off. But at least you had a committee there of comic book people overseeing the properties, and I have to believe that helped build the foundation that Marvel Studios had built in those first three phases. They got rid of it, and then they got rid of comic book people altogether. And this is what we've been getting consistently from Marvel.
Right. Let's go to some quick comments. Just a few. Secret Invasion is even secret from the audience, says Lawrence Gillespie. I like that. Kimberly Moore is a member. Thank you for that. They are learning the hard way that they can't continue disrespect of the source material. Alan Horkin, no. I think that covers Secret Invasion pretty succinctly. And worse than She-Hulk, says Critique Corner.
Yes.
Remember?
I'm sorry. It is fundamentally worse than She-Hulk. She-Hulk had moments that we enjoyed. Madison, for one thing.
Right.
There were enjoyable moments in She-Hulk. This one, there was nothing. You knew that they were trying real hard to look cool, and they couldn't pull it off.
Yeah. All right. Alan, Barbie, let's talk about the Barbie fallout. We're going to talk about the Barbie fallout and Oppenheimer, because you've seen Oppenheimer.
Yes.
First, I want to get you saw Oppenheimer. I think you went to see it at
I saw it at 11 o'clock at night.
All right, Alan,
I got home at 2:30.
I've already discussed Oppenheimer, and what I'm very excited to learn is that, I'll go back to this. What I'm excited to learn is that the critical drinker thought about it exactly like I did. It's bloated. It's all the same problems. It's like all the best things you love about Chris Nolan movies and all the worst things you think about Christopher Nolan movies. And the soundtrack is way overused. There's one of the best scenes in the movie is when there's no music and they're talking about which city to bomb, which they decided not for Kyoto because, I vacationed there once.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on Oppenheimer? We're going to talk a little bit about Barbie and the fact that, I'll say this. Theaters are packed. So I go to the AMC Burbank 16 every week on Thursday. And I park at this parking structure. It's free parking. Usually park on level 2 or 3. In the last week, I've had to park on the roof every time I've gone there because it is packed. I went to Yard House on Monday to see Haunted Mansion. We'll talk about that momentarily. They were out of Truly. They're like, we were packed this weekend. It's all because people are going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer. And you don't know if they're wearing pink. A lot of the whole challenge is it's become a meme to go and see both movies in a day. Barbenheimer, there is a step and repeat for Barbie. So we'll talk about that more, but Oppenheimer, your thoughts?
Yeah. I will say the reason I saw the 11:50 showing was because the earlier showings, they weren't sold out, but I wasn't going to sit in the front row for Oppenheimer.
Right.
I really like this movie. I'm not exactly a Christopher Nolan stan. I do like his good stuff, and I don't like his bad stuff. But I do like this, and I'll tell you why specifically. I am drawn to figuring people out, understanding people, and this movie, if anything, is a character study of Robert Oppenheimer, and to me, that fits right in my wheelhouse. And yes, the movie is too long. It is way too long. I'm fighting sleep at the 1:30 a.m. mark. But there's just a lot of elements to him, this situation, that I just found fascinating. The first thing that stuck out to me was, there was someone had presented him with facts that he believed in wholeheartedly. And the thing he did was he needed to talk to someone who completely disagreed with them, and that was Albert Einstein, because he needed to know that whether or not his opinion about this fact was, was he seeing it from a biased perspective, and he needed someone who he disagreed with to look at it. And then you just kind of get into this whole debate of should we have created this? Why did he create this? He was creating the atomic bomb out of the fact that he could, and that the Russians, the Germans were on the project as well, and he saw it from a completely scientific standpoint, and we had finally accomplished what he meant to accomplish. Now it became the moral issue of whether you entrust this kind of power to politicians and military people. And to me, this was the movie. This is why I was engaged with it, why I was fascinated by it. And of course, you have all the other cool Christopher Nolan stuff and Florence Pugh. And so this movie just fit right into my wheelhouse in terms of movies I like watching. And again, character studies is all that. And this is certainly a character study.
Well, I do plan to see it again. I really want to see it again. It's one of those, I've only seen it once. I did see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, which was great. But, I don't know that just having it kind of marinate in my head, I still think I'm going to see the same flaws. They'll probably bother me less. I have found that like when I see kind of flaws in movies, it's just like, especially a movie that's like a big film like this, I tend to I'll overlook it a little bit more, it's like, all right, fine. On second viewing, I look for the good, right? So I'll probably like it more upon second viewing. But again, 3 hours and 15 minutes, I kind of feel like whatever point he was trying to make, I feel like the first hour is where the bloat is. You could have really cut that down. I just and spending an hour on his dalliances with women, which is literally the weakest thing. Christopher Nolan should
really
never he should never make a romantic comedy, like ever. I was kind of into it.
So
What's that?
I was kind of into it.
Well, but even the nudity, and look, anyone that's been watching the Film Threat live streams long enough knows I am in favor of nudity in movies. Bring it back.
We are pro nudity at Film Threat.
I am pro nudity. I have
well, you know, you mentioned seeing it again. Look, last night I had the choice of seeing many movies again because I'd seen everything.
Right.
And I chose theater camp because my daughter wanted to see it. Because I was not going to sit through Oppenheimer.
We've already reviewed it, and both of us kind of were meh on it.
Yeah.
But look, I'll see it again. But Christopher Nolan, it's like he does it, or at least maybe this is because it's Oppenheimer. He was maybe just a cold scientist. Like when you see him romantically involved, it's like, I don't know. It just seems like an AI showing you what an AI thinks human emotions are like. But that might be because that's what Oppenheimer was like, kind of a cold, calculating.
Yeah, I mean, there was this love story they supposedly had, and it was never built, and it just seemed to be born purely out of lust.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, let's pivot and talk about Barbie. I mean, Oppenheimer is definitely like, I got to tell you something. I got a notification on my phone, which was hilarious. I got a notification from AMC that was like, hey, complete the Barbenheimer challenge. You've seen Barbie. Now go see Oppenheimer. Because I hadn't bought tickets from the AMC app for Oppenheimer yet. I'd only bought Barbie tickets because I saw Oppenheimer at a press screening. So I hadn't seen it. So the app is saying, hey, Barbenheimer it up. Like they're being playful.
Did they make an offer at least? Some points or something?
Sometimes they give you extra points. I don't really care.
They're just,
you know, they're trying to get people to the theater. They're making so much money now from the popularity of these two movies, and it has to really do with a meme. It has to do with a meme and a trendy thing. And I'm seeing a lot of young people in the theater that are going to see Barbie. Just like, because I go to the AMC Burbank 16 with regularity. I've never seen this many people, teenagers, going to see films in a theater, all dressed in pink. And the thing that I think is part of the popularity about Barbie is it's not just about the movie, it's about you. Because you, young girls that play with Barbie dolls, you're projecting you into the doll, right? Or your dreams and aspirations into the doll. You can make it about you. There are displays in the theater, and this is a lot of places. There's one that's just a step and repeat, like you're at a movie premiere, that just says Barbie in pink. And it's got like a pink carpet and this backdrop that says Barbie in pink. And you can take photos. There were girls in line taking photos of themselves. There's another photo op, because I think what they've done is the marketing people at who worked on Barbie should get an Oscar for best marketing.
Yeah.
Then there's another display where you can go inside like a fake, like Giant's life size, like you're in a box, like you're Barbie, you're the doll in a box, a toy box from Mattel. So you go in the box and you take a picture and, hey, I'm a doll. And like I saw a girl, she was posing and she was doing all these like cute shots of herself. And she's like, oh, wait, do this. And then she like holds her arms out like she's frozen like a doll in a box. Look, I'm just observing the audience. And I think it's Alan, could you mute that?
Yeah, I know that. Here, let me unmute.
Can you just close that window?
Okay, we're good.
Alan, are you good?
It's fall on the floor laughing. Whoa!
All right. Okay, so what are your thoughts on Barbie? Any new thoughts on it? Here's the thing. One of the most interesting things, real quick for you.
Okay.
So Ben Shapiro hated the movie. Not a surprise. Okay. Ben Shapiro hated it. He burned a Barbie on a barbecue and then did a whole rant on it. It's, feminist propaganda. He's not wrong. And then Brett Cooper, who is also on the Daily Wire, has a show called The Comment Section. She loved, and she's very conservative, she loved the movie. So they had a debate. I thought it was one of the most interesting debates I've seen was, Brett Cooper debating Ben Shapiro. And Brett Cooper's whole thing was, look, I know all that stuff is there. In spite of that, I like the movie. It reminds me of something in the early issues of Film Threat. We were calling Hollywood out on its BS forever. But I don't mind it. It's like, as long as you're aware that it exists, you can inoculate yourself towards its influence by being aware that there's a bunch of bullshit propaganda in a movie. So if you know that, it doesn't bother me as much. I'm like, whatever. It doesn't bother me because I know I'm not going to be affected by it. What I am concerned about are the people that are not aware. There's a lot of bullshit in this movie. I mean, the movie is very hypocritical. It says one thing and it shows other things, which I think are just very different from the intended message of Greta Gerwig. But what are your thoughts? And your daughter, does she have any interest in seeing the movie?
No, you talked her out of it basically last week.
Did I really?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, behind the scenes, my daughter was there when we did last Friday's live stream. And,
Right.
And she was like, no, I'm not seeing this. But I'll say this, it's not meant for me. And that was, we had done what we did last week. We had been pretty hard on this movie. I gave it a 3 out of 10. And then all of a sudden, you see Chrissy Mayer loving this movie, Brett Cooper loving it. It's like, did I get it wrong? And it was just, as I thought about it more and more, it's like, this wasn't meant for me. And that's okay. You're allowed to make movies that aren't meant for everybody in the world. You can make a movie that's specifically for a specific audience. And this is the kind of the feminist woman who might or might not have played with Barbies in their youth. I still stand behind the fact that, the movie opens trying to be diverse. It's like, here's all the diversity Barbies, and to not see an Asian Barbie in there. Someone told me there was an Asian Barbie. She was Indian. And I basically told him, I must have missed that. Was she the one who said, "Hi, Barbie"? And it's like, how do you claim, how do you stand behind the virtue of diversity and not include an Asian Barbie? And there was barely a Latino Barbie, and so a Latina Barbie. And I don't go off on this racial thing or the diversity thing in movies. I'll watch movies full of white people. I saw Oppenheimer, I loved it. But if you're going to stand on that pedestal of diversity, then be diverse. Don't pretend, because as long as I've grown up, diversity to me has always meant white and black and no one else. That has been my experience as a child when it comes to diversity. And then, so that kind of set me off on a sour mood. And then I was just getting preached to throughout the entire film. And I was like, I'm done. I'm so tired of this. And then when they have to go through these speeches to bring the Barbies back to normal, I'm like, I need to get out of this movie as soon as possible. So nothing's really changed for me on this. It's not for me. I'm glad it's doing well. I'm glad this movie is proving that people want to spend money and people want to go to the movie theaters, and the studios need to take note of this. That maybe it's not the fact that we don't want to go to theaters anymore. Maybe it's your crappy movies that we don't want to watch.
Well, but here's the thing. I think Hollywood's going to get the wrong message, because it's always been the whole concept of get woke, go broke, right? And I don't know, like, there's aspects of this movie, Barbie, that makes fun of wokeness in a way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's sort of like it has its cake and it eats it too, so to speak.
Yeah. Like
it's woke, but calls out stuff that's woke and makes fun of it. So I don't know, like it wants to be a satire, but I think really it's the ending that kind of ruined it for me. Barbie just saying, I'm going to stay in this real world, and I'm going to go to the gynecologist. Like, what? Yeah. Sorry for the spoiler there, But
Oh, by the way, people have been calling me out. Well, Ken was Asian with Simu, and I'm like, yeah, thanks.
yeah,
That
yeah. But the best character in the movie, without debate, the best character is Alan.
Yes. I have found recently that characters named Alan are usually the best. In theater camp, there's a little Asian kid who's an agent, and he was great. So
Alan, 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 Al, Alan.
yeah, keep naming your characters Alan. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, it was just like, yeah, Michael Cera, best part of the movie for me.
Yeah, I can do a whole series on great Allens in cinema.
Why don't you do an article on Film Threat, the top 10 Allens in movies,
Yes.
and you can have a photo of Michael Cera.
Yeah. Well, there's
Just
some
have-
great actors, Alan Arkin, Alan Rickman.
Just have AI write it.
Yeah.
Allens in movies. Dude, like, oh, okay, you have to write that article. The top 5 Allens.
Top
Do
5
it.
Allens.
Come on. Please,
Yeah.
Alan, will you write that article?
Okay.
Okay, good. Good. All right, but your daughter definitely doesn't want to see it now.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad, I miss you.
And my wife definitely wants to see this. And so
So you're going to see it
I
again.
may have to see it again. And she wants to go to the Fullerton dine-in, and
Oh,
so
that's fun. I like
so
that.
I'm going to drop another $100 on a movie and food.
So, yes, I will not beach you off, Alan. I will not.
They
Crazy
ruined the
Cat.
joke. They
Crazy
ruined
Cat.
the
We
joke.
talked about this. Crazy Cat. Her going to the gynecologist was Barbie leaving childish things behind and growing into womanhood. Did you not get that, Chris? I don't know. When they hammered me on the head, I think I got it.
By the way,
Jesus fucking Christ.
what does
I got it.
what does having
It
a
was so
vagina
fucking
have anything-
obvious.
what does
Jesus
having a
fuck.
vagina have anything to do with being a woman?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Thanks, Crazy Cat.
Yep.
Matthew Hammond for 999. Chris needs to watch Timcast IRL from yesterday with the dudes from Angel Studios.
Oh.
I was at Yard House, but I put it in my watch history. I will watch it. They have developed a movie filtering and funding structure, and they were talking like you about seeing movies in theaters. Yeah, I know. What I've been saying is not necessarily original with regard to support indie film, but not enough people are saying it. And I've been doing this fucking 38 years. For 38 fucking years, I started Film Threat in 1985. Chop! So yes, I'll watch it. Thank you, Matthew Hammond. Alan hunted for an Asian Barbie, says Marco CCS. Just Marco. I'm just going to say Marco.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Greasy Guido for 555. Barbie is the ultimate of femininity. I think this is girls craving to be girls instead of being forced into masculine traits. Yes. That I think is the secret sauce as to why the movie is popular. Is it's cool to be feminine again instead of like we have seen this like desexualizing of women in movies. You know what? Women like to be sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Women like to be sexy. In a way, it gives them power and agency. We can debate that.
Yeah.
But like I have seen so many women like high heels and miniskirts just disappeared in Hollywood the last couple of years. Guess what? Thanks to Barbie, they're back. I support the success of this movie.
I'll tell you this: when my daughter played with Barbies, it wasn't about her skin color; it was about her fashion.
Right.
You know, the money was spent on dresses, not on which Barbie's skin color matched hers.
Yeah. John Platt for £2. I was going to see Oppenheimer, but at 3 hours, too long.
Yeah.
And Slayer 96 for 2 says, I'll make non-woke movie production TM. I'll do it. Just do it. More comments here. I'm fired up. Today. Wes Ray, the message Hollywood should get from Barbie's success. We need to make more chick flicks. The message Hollywood will actually take from Barbie's success. People love woke. We must triple down. Wes is probably right, unfortunately.
Hey, Joyride, by the way. Go see Joyride.
Joyride is great. There's but as Alan has pointed out, maybe too many Asians.
Oh, you're saying there wasn't enough white people in Joyride?
I don't care.
Did you need to see more? Did you not feel seen?
No, I like that movie a lot. Andrew Simmons, Film Threat t-shirts cure nudity on contact. Hell yeah, they do. Spaceman says, I've heard Nolan played fast and loose with the history in this. True. I don't know.
Every
Crazy Cat.
biopic plays fast and loose with history.
Crazy Cat is back for $9.99. I find it hilarious that nerds are so shocked and baffled by the success of Barbie. I wasn't shocked. I knew it was going to be a huge hit. Despite their protests, Barbie is enjoying massive, unprecedented success because women don't care what nerds think.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
100% Crazy Cat. And by the way, that movie's going to make over $1 billion.
Amazing.
Over $1 billion. Over $1 billion. Thank you, Crazy Cat. I like debate. Alan, why did you wear pink to Oppenheimer? Says Imperfect.
Yeah, I was going for the challenge. Couldn't make it.
Cool.
But it looks good. I mean,
Razorburn, the IMAX here in Atlanta is completely sold out this weekend. That's crazy. John Manilang, love this movie so much. Cast was phenomenal, but Blunt almost stole the movie once with one scene. Emily Blunt, yes.
Yeah.
So there you go. I don't like biopics. I like the documentary End All Wars, Oppenheimer and the Atomic Bomb. Biopics take liberties with real life. And for a biopic, I prefer a documentary to get all real facts, says Jacob P.
Yeah. By the way, we just reposted our review of the Atomic Cafe, which is on 4K streaming right now.
Yeah, it's we should talk about the Atomic Cafe is a movie that came out in the 80s. It's a compilation of these education. It's all about nuclear paranoia in the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And they made educational films. Duck and Cover is a big part of it. It's this was an educational film shown to children in schools all across the United States that said, if a nuclear bomb goes off in your city, just get under the desk. You'll be fine. Duck and Cover. Crazy. Yeah. Enjoyed Oppenheimer, would only recommend it very selectively, never going to see it again, says Alan Horkin. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. So look, Barbie is going to make $1 billion without a doubt. And it will make $1 billion. $1 billion.
Yeah.
And could even end up being the biggest film of the year. Outgrossing, I think Super Mario is the biggest so far.
Yeah.
So there you
But
are.
again, people want to go back to the theater.
Yeah, just
make good stuff.
Make a movie we want to see. How about that? All right, Alan.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Alan, Haunted Mansion. What did you think?
Yes. Well, you and I saw it together.
Yes. While you're doing that, I'm gonna get a second cup of coffee.
Okay.
Tell us the story.
The story. Do we care about the story? A single mother and her son change their lives, move to New Orleans, buy a mansion, and decide that they're going to renovate it and make it a B&B. A bed and breakfast. A B&B. There we go. Got it. And they quickly find out that the house is haunted. And they leave the house, but everywhere they go, they are followed by ghosts, kind of these hitchhiking ghosts who've gone in their car, and they're always sent back. At which point they hire a priest, and then they played by Owen Wilson, and then they hire a paranormal photographer, played by Lakeith Stanfield, and they both say no, they leave, but the ghosts make them come back. And so now, as the cast starts to build, including Danny DeVito, Tiffany Haddish, they now have to solve the crime, figure out why are these ghosts here, why won't they be let go, and from there comes all this comedic hilarity. And so that's just the basic story of it. It's a fairly typical Disney movie, but let's just say this. Haunted Mansion, on the positive side, doesn't do two things that we've been complaining about Disney movies, and the two are one, it's not woke. There's not a woke thing in this movie, and B, it's safe for children. And that's probably its biggest flaw, is the fact that This is supposed to be a horror movie for children. It's not that scary. It's watered down a bit. I think they could have ratcheted up a notch or two to make it legitimately scary, especially for children, but they don't do that. The other positive I'll give this movie is, if you're like me, I'm a big fan of the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland. This movie is based on the Disneyland ride. There is an homage to the Walt Disney World Haunted Mansion that appears in the movie, but this is primarily the Disneyland one. Justin Simien, who wrote and directed the movie, he was a cast member at Disneyland. He knows the ride well. This movie is the best homage to the Disneyland Haunted Mansion you're going to get. Everything's there. The look, the feel, the infinite hallway appears many times. It feels just like the Walt Disney ride. The graveyard is just like the Disneyland ride. They hide out in the ballroom at night because that's the safest place. That is, everything that's in the Disneyland Haunted Mansion is in this movie and done well. Even a few chairs that look like the Omnimovers exist. The problem with the movie is it's boring as hell. It is boring. And I think a lot of it has to do with what I mentioned earlier. This should be a horror movie for children. It doesn't do it. It doesn't do it well. The way to execute a horror film is not. Those elements are not done here. And constantly throughout the movie, when these jump scares are supposed to happen, these creepy things are going to happen. The thing that in my mind I kept thinking was, this should have been done better. This should have been done by someone who knows horror, who knows how to play with the minds of the audience, and it just wasn't there. And then the story, I don't know what it is, but the editing, the pacing of the story is just drawn out. It's bland, and Chris and I will disagree on this. I thought the third act was better, the best thing about the movie. I started to kind of slightly enjoy the film at that point, but there was no saving it to that point.
Well, I'll say this: Haunted Mansion is not a horror movie. It's a terrible movie.
Yeah, it should have been.
I mean, it is a Disney Plus movie for children. I don't even know that children will be scared. There's nothing. There isn't one jump scare in the film. It's really made for children. And Lakeith Stanfield, I think, is completely miscast in this film.
Yeah, he's too low key. He's low. His tone is just depressed and slow in pacing.
He is a really good actor, Lakeith Stanfield. I like him a lot. What is he doing in a Disney movie? This is as Disney movie as Disney movies get, and it's awful. It's like the kind of live action Disney movies they used to make in the 70s. I look back fondly on those films, but those films were not good films.
Yeah, they weren't.
Maybe the couple of the Kurt Russell ones I thought were funny.
Barely.
Pretty bad. And the effects, of course, look horribly digital. It's awful. All the stuff that is supposed to be the emotional tug at the heartstrings stuff. There's a speech in the movie. That's so bad. There's a speech in the movie involving tater tots where Lakeith Stanfield's character is talking about his dead wife. She was the best. And he goes on this speech, and it's like a speech written by someone who has never been in a relationship. It is the dumbest thing in the movie. I'm sitting here and I remember looking at you and going like with a WTF look, like, what is this? It was so bad. I'm embarrassed that I went to see it. It's awful. It's going to tank at the box office. It's not going to be, it might creep into the top 5. But
by the way, it was sold out at my theater yesterday.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I get this one wrong. I think that Barbie and Oppenheimer are going to dominate. Well, maybe Absolutely. What it is people are going to the movies now and they're like, oh, Haunted Mansion. The two good things about it, I think you and I talked about this. There's two good things about the film. It's not woke at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think there's nothing overtly woke in the film. And it's very accurate to the ride, which I love the ride.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of my favorite rides, that and Pirates of the Caribbean, the old Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, the one where the men were chasing the whores. I love that. I love that.
The bride auction.
Yeah. The men were chasing the ladies of the night.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if I were to ever recommend this movie, it would be to someone who loved the ride and just wants it just wants to feel like they got that Disney at least got the elements of the ride right.
They made a movie that was accurate to a theme park ride. Where are we at the movies?
Yeah.
We need what's that dumb keyword that people are using now that is just basically another word for independent film?
Oh, decentralized.
Decentralized. It's called independent film, you morons. Decentralized.
By the way, it is
film.
It is better than the original Haunted Mansion movie, except this could have used Eddie Murphy.
It needed a better actor to center it. Lakeith Stanfield is a very serious actor who is very good in independent films. His roles are usually intense, and they threw him in a Disney movie, and he doesn't know how to be in a Disney movie. So I cannot recommend. I can't recommend Haunted Mansion.
Look, I'll also say the story and the direction was equally as bad. It didn't show any any expertise in directing. It was just not a well constructed story, and I don't think it was directed well either.
I would 100% agree with you. So a non-recommendation for Haunted Mansion. Let's go to comments about this. Here we go. Bass player 2011 5 for $4.99. Loved the Atomic Cafe. That plus Trinity and Beyond make the ultimate a bomb documentary double feature. Love that. WDW Pro said it's one of the worst movies of all time. Says BA. I don't think worst movie of all time. It's bad. It's a bad movie.
It's not the worst.
Wait, Davina Duckworth. Thank you. Witch Mountain.
Yes.
I loved Escape from Witch Mountain. Were those in the 80s or 70s?
It was the 70s.
I love the Escape from Witch Mountain movies. Mm-hmm. I had a crush on that girl from the movie.
Yeah.
Like an innocent, crush. I like girls.
Didn't Disney did Watcher in the Woods, didn't they? That was a scary one.
Spidey Sensei 72, not a horror movie, but a horrible movie. Horrible movie.
Horrible.
I said that. The Super Mayor EO says Guillermo del Toro was originally going to write and direct this movie, but Disney thought it was too scary. L for Disney.
And they should have done that.
Chris, is it worse than the Eddie Murphy version? It says Razorburn. Alan, you're the more Disney guy than I am.
Yeah, it is better than the Eddie Murphy version, but it could have used Eddie Murphy. Hell, it could have even used Jennifer Tilly.
Fletcher Williams, I suck at games channel. Not woke and safe for children. Is Disney learning? It's possible. It's possible. Yeah, they just looked at this as this movie is very milquetoast and inoffensive.
Yeah.
You can take kids to see this movie. Here's so funny. You can take kids to see Haunted Mansion. I would not recommend taking kids to see Barbie. So there you go. Fletcher Williams also goes on to say Paulie, a Latino slant, and Lorena Creole liked it, said it was fun and family friendly.
Yeah, I think the sense I got was that they've been so inundated by bad Disney that something slightly better and not woke is going to get high marks.
If you walk through a desert and you're thirsty and someone hands you toilet water, you'll probably drink it.
Yeah.
That explains Lorena and Paulie's positive thought.
If you match this up against the last 10 Walt Disney Studio films, this is the greatest movie ever made.
Oh, see, there you go. Maybe you can be quoted in the trailer.
Yeah. The greatest movie ever made.
Let's see some other chat. Wait, Zodlander says it would be cool if some of the TNG actors could get to talk about season 3 Picard on the trail. I think he's talking about the trial.
Yeah.
Trial. All right. I don't know.
Let's get some of them.
Yeah. We Shenanigans for 10. On a positive note, Gran Turismo is coming. Whoever made the trailer is an idiot. The gaming stuff is done in like 20 minutes. Then it's a really good Neil Blomkamp racing film that is 0% woke. They've done some like sort of fan screenings of it. I have heard it's very good. But yeah, the trailer to me looked dumb, so I don't have interest. I will see the movie. Next week, we're seeing the Meg 2.
Oh,
Can't wait.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Wee Shenanigans. So there you go. All right, we're gonna pivot. Talk about another movie. Oh, and we have an interview coming up. Also, see, Alan, I'm gonna bitch at Alan in real time here. I have this planning document that we all use and have access to that tells you
Yes.
what's on the show. What it's supposed to be used for is to create the little captions that we have underneath, so people that just pop in the show know what we're talking about. They kind of have some idea, like, what are they talking about on the bottom? That's because people dip in and dip out of live streams. And so in order to, like, what are we talking about now, which may not exactly match the, the thing on the thumbnail, what I like to do is have a little like thing that's on the bottom. So we have a director that's coming on around in about 20 minutes.
Yes.
Nathan Faudree, about a film, Site 13, and that's on that list. Haunted Mansion's on the list. I'm just saying you missed a lot for the prep for the show.
Haunted Mansion's there.
No, I made it.
You made it?
Yeah.
It?
I made it.
Yeah.
I made it, Alan.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm you know what? I still have a hangover from San Diego Comic-Con. I just do. There's not, there's no two way about it.
My adversaries crumble when we rumble. It's a catastrophe on anybody who trying to hate, come and blast at me. I've been in this for a minute. See how I graduated from rookie to beginner, but now I'm winning on the road. Backing up and selling our shows, but let's rewind the tape a bit and let them all know.
Well, there you go. There you go. There you are.
I love the prequels. I have boobs. Harry Coinslot, harrycoinslot.com.
That might be an Easter egg on the Attack of the Doc disc. Good luck finding it. All right, we're going to pivot and talk about another film that is playing in theaters. We're going to, when it comes to film reviews today, we're going to end on a positive note. And that is a film that I have seen called Talk to Me. Talk to Me. And Alan did not see this film.
Yeah. I had my chance, but I didn't see it.
Alan he's not so much into the horror. But Talk to Me is a film that played the Sundance Film Festival. It was on the indie film circuit, so played Sundance, South by Southwest, and now is in theaters, acquired by A24. It's directed by two brothers, Danny and Michael Philippou. They made the movie for a couple $1 million. It's an Australian film. It's all actors that you've never heard of that are exceptional. The lead actress who plays a character named Mia, the actress is Sophie Wilde. She's amazing. There's also another woman. Her character's name is Haley, played by Zoe Terakis. And then Miranda Otto is also in this film. She plays the mother in this film. So it's a bunch of teenage kids, and they're just sort of hanging out, bored, going to parties, doing teenage nonsense in Australia. And the character Haley and a buddy of hers, they bring over this thing. Everyone's hearing about this crazy challenge that they're doing at all the parties. And what is it? It's this hand. And it's a hand that no one knows where it came from. It's like a statue, but it's rumored it might be the hand of a spirit. And it's covered in all this sort of scrawl writing that, like, no one knows what it means. It's like sort of graffitied. Like, why is all this writing on it? This hand is sort of moved from person to person. It seems like it's cursed. So what happens is when you put the hand on the table, you light a candle to let the spirit in. You hold on to the hand, the sort of hand statue. You say, "Talk to me." and then let me in, right? And then you get possessed by a spirit, and the person being possessed can see the image of the spirit that they're being possessed by. Dead people that have had like tragic ends to their lives. So Sophie Wilde's character Mia does this, and it's like it's like being hot. You cannot do it more than 90 seconds or the spirit will begin to control you. So you do it for this short amount of time, and then you have to let go, and so that you're not fully possessed by this demon spirit. And these spirits are from the other side. So this little artifact is a gateway to the spirit realm. And there are some good spirits and evil spirits. It becomes a challenge, which is kind of fun. They are doing these things where like they're filming it and like posting it on TikTok and woo, look, it's so hilarious. Sort of like, like the Tide Pod challenge. It's just dumb teenagers doing this for a goof because they're bored, right? Well, what happens is one of the characters' brothers, a guy is played by I don't know the actor's name, but this character Riley, this kid, he does it for too long and he gets possessed and he starts to harm himself in a horrible way. I mean, some of the gore in this, like I had to like shield myself. And he becomes possessed by this demon and doesn't come back. And he needs to be restrained and put in a hospital with all these injuries because he's now possessed by this demon. So it becomes a race to somehow find a way for this demon to go away. And then there's a conflict where Mia's character, her mother may have committed suicide and ended her life in a tragic way. So it is a great drama, amazing actors you've never heard of, which I like. Sometimes when you throw stars in, it kind of like in a role, it's distracting. You believe it. I think the believability of the film is more convincing when you hire very good actors that you've never heard of. And these Australian actors are fantastic. The other thing is, I saw an interview with these directors. They are amazing. Danny and Michael. First of all, they're totally on the spectrum and they know it. They're very like ADD and they're huge horror fans. So they went from being guys who had a YouTube channel. They actually have a YouTube channel. Look them up, Danny and Michael Philippou. It's spelled Philippou. I think the channel is called Raka Raka. And they would make these horror films. By the way, their channel's been taken down by YouTube a couple times because some of their videos have just crossed the line. They just get a little gory. And they even worked on movies because they live in Australia. They worked on other Australian films. They worked on the Babadook as PAs. And they just wanted to make their own movies. They did a lot of stuff for YouTube. And they went from doing YouTube movies to writing this script and coming up with this story. What I love about it is because I generally don't like possession movies. I don't like them, and I'll tell you why. I like horror films that are less gory. This kind of crossed the line a few times for me, but it's very well done, especially in the sound design. What I like is when a movie has rules. When a movie that's like science fiction, fantasy, horror, tell me what the rules are. Don't keep making up and adding rules. This is why I think Marvel films have kind of fallen by the wayside. It's like they're just making shit up that doesn't matter. Give me the rules and then follow your own rules that you made up for your fantasy universe. And this has a really specific rule about this artifact in this hand. You cannot hold it. You cannot be possessed more than 90 seconds. So I love all of that. And in this interview with them, they talk about that they want to do a sequel. I'll say this. I think Talk to Me is the best horror movie of the year. We've talked about The Boogeyman. There have been some other good horror films, some other decent horror films. I love horror. This is the best horror film of the year so far. We still have to get to October, but I loved it. It's intense. It's also 90 minutes, 93 minutes, something like that. So it's not overly long. Did you laugh, Alan?
No, I'm fighting allergies right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. But I really love the film. Highly recommend Talk to Me. Go see it. You will love it. It's intense. It's you really get to know the characters well, and you're invested in their stories. Something that a lot of horror films don't spend time on is getting to know the characters. It's like, here's the dumb guy. He's probably gonna die. Like, and it doesn't go in places that you expect. So, strong recommendation for Talk to Me. Let's see what people.
Not gonna see it.
Alan. Let's see what people in the chat are saying. Dr. Fauci's prison butts for 5. You should interview Ethan Van Sciver about his take on Barbie. Also, how do you think Man of Steel would have been received if released today, post Marvel hype? Probably been received really well. I don't think EVS needs me to interview him. You can just go to his channel. I'm going to give my take on Film Threat, or Alan's take, or when we do our group thing. But EVS has his own channel. He's not going to go in a channel. He has way more subs than I do. Gets a much bigger audience. He doesn't need me. But yeah, you can go to Ethan Van Sciver's channel and check that his opinion. Wes for $4.99. Can we make intermissions great again? Why don't 3-hour films have them anymore? In the 50s and 60s, long films all had them. They still had them going into, I think the last movie I remember having an intermission. Well, RRR had an intermission, but they didn't always use it. They didn't always show it. It was a 5-minute intermission. And Gandhi had an intermission. That was in the 80s. But yeah, I really miss intermissions.
Yeah, Monty Python and the Holy Grail had an intermission.
That's right. It was really to pad the running time. I love it.
And then, Gone with the Wind was the only 2 that I've been in.
Chris, I agree. Very decent horror movie, set up perfectly for sequel and origin stories. Yeah, the ending is shocking. I'm not going to talk about it. The ending is shocking, and it just ends. None of this like dragging it on. It's like it has a shocking ending, and this little button, and and then just credits. I love it.
Yeah.
I agree. Very decent horror film, set up perfectly for sequel and origin stories. Saw early screening on Monday in packed cinema in Scotland. Should do very well financially in Europe. I mean, the movie was made for under $5 million. This movie is going to do incredibly well.
Yeah. Also, the director and cast were at Comic-Con this last weekend.
Yes, that's right. Oh, they did screenings at Comic-Con.
Yeah. But A24 again is exempt from the SAG strike, so they promoted it there.
Retribution Zero Threat Level 2 has been a member for 2 months and says, this is from, thank you both for such a great show and all your hard work. You're contributing to inspire our other YouTube channel to do and be more. Well, thank you. Yeah. Just all you need is an Alan. All you just need your own. I already have my Alan. Get your own Alan. There you are.
I love those classic clips.
The classic clips. We've been retiring clips, so there you go. The introspect M, doing it too long made me think of the girls in One Crazy Summer who made faces that got stuck. Yeah. English Book Batchers, who's a member. Thank you for that. You sold me on it, Chris. I am going to check it out. Alan got me again. This is you. So funny. Not the Batman. Moral of the story, teens need to stay away from the internet and supernatural things. Well, that was like, what I like is they didn't go into it too much, but it's like, they were using it like, oh, we're going to post these clips online. And that becomes like a whole thing. But they don't even mention a specific like TikTok. You just assume it's TikTok or social media, but they're filming it. Like, don't post that, Like, I love it. It's dumb teenagers. Talk to Me was a pretty great movie. Had a lot of fun with it, says Sifax. Awesome. Glad you liked it, man. It's great. Jericho Leon Allen. This reminds me of the hand in Belshazzar's Belshazzar's Feast. Only a Bible geek would know. So it's not a sequel to Women Talking, says the Introspect M. No, it's
What,
not.
this one or?
Yeah. Sell that Wanted poster as a t-shirt. Maybe. I just wanted to say my copy of Attack arrived last week. It's still a great doc on repeat views. Cheers to all involved, says AJ Matheson for 5. Well, thank you. Yeah, the movie, I believe it holds up on repeated viewing. It's just sort of like, it's like a, I don't know. It's like comfort food, but in movie form. And but check out the extras. I made that for fans, for us. Talk to the hand pink waving, says Davina Duckworth. And thoughts on not fitness with Nigel, threat level 1. It's been a member for 7 months and says it was an amazing success. Congratulations, guys. Talking about the trial. And make pink manly again, says Lawrence Gillespie. And Mike MC Wong. Hey, Mike, thank you for that. Talk to Me was great. Awesome. So we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot quickly. We're going to pivot. We have a director coming on the show momentarily. The director, Nathan Faudree of the film Site 13, which is a movie he worked on for 17 years. 17 years. We're going to get into it. But for now, we're going to read super chats that we missed until he shows up. Where's that link? Did you post it again?
It's a private chat.
Private chat. All right. Private chat. Let's do it.
Did you want to share the screen on those or?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll share the screen.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. We're unable to keep up. And then I think it was, I don't know what day it was.
It was last week. We were at the B&B with Gary.
Yes. So here we go. Super chats not read. Okay, we were going to get to them. Feeling Dangerous 113. Watching Mad Heidi, it was fantastic. Thanks for making me aware of that movie. So glad I found this channel a couple months ago. Yeah, my whole thing is like, you can bitch all you want about crappy Hollywood movies. That's never going away. Balance that by going to see an indie film. Mad Heidi is a blast. We're going to get Casper Van Dien. He was supposed to do the show. So there you go. You can't be unfamous now, Chris. RIP anonymity, says Darius Munchausen for 2. Well, thank you for that. Did you guys visit the G4 TV stage? Oh, wait, says 200 Watt Studio. Well, thank you for that. John Manneling, threat level 2, has been a member for 11 months and says TGIFT. Enjoy Comic-Con, boys. Thank you for that. Dom T, threat level 1, has been a member for 11 months. Says, good to see Dante joining the FT party. And Nerdrotic says, setting up the OnlyFans after the stream. They have no idea. Wait, is that real? Did Gary do that? I'm sure not. SM Lewis is a new member. Feeling Dangerous 113 for 2 says, thanks for making me aware. Mad Heidi, it was great. I would have Chris Gore sign some random Sonic book and get it slabbed, says Yellow Flash 2. Thank you, Yellow Flash. Dr. Breezy or D Breezy for 499. North County meetup. Yeah, we didn't do a meetup, did we? Well, I did the signing at that booth. Yellow Flash 2 says, I bought it. Does he mean, did he buy the Attack of the Doc? I'll ask Yellow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
That's cool. Red Strider 2099. Chris and Alan, you guys need to come to Anime Matsuri in Houston next month. I have been invited. I don't know if I'm going to go. Not sure. Greta Gerwig is a more successful Lena Dunham, says MK Solid 82 for 199. And new Haunted Mansion will make the one with Eddie Murphy look good, says JS Pena for 199. Well, thank you for that. Wow, I'm going through these quick, but I'm so sorry we missed these. I hope the people that are regular viewers will see this. The Alex Zorba, threat level 1, has been a member for 11 months and says, it was my pleasure to pre-order Attack of the Doc. Stay honest. I don't know how to do anything any other way. It's why my reputation, I think I have a reputation. I can rub some people the wrong way sometimes. But I have to, I don't know, I have to say my piece. I try not to be an asshole about it, but what can I say?
Yeah.
Geek Truth
But
64.
early Chris Gore, on the other hand.
Early Chris Gore, hey. Geek Truth 64 for $4.99. The most boring people shut themselves off from different opinions without challenge to your perspectives. How much are they really worth? Very good point. SM Lewis just sends in $10. Thank you for that. It's okay when we do it. That's the problem, says Joe Pat 87 for $1.99, who also goes on to say, we got to start making those goalposts out of lead. He's talking about the that Ripa goalpost thing, which is stupid, I think. But yeah. Robert Paul Champagne for $4.99. Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street. Crunchy Bush indeed. Well, there you are. And D Breezy for $4.99. Haven't seen it and won't, but it's obvious why the patriarchy fails in Kendom. Ken doesn't have any balls. Well, there you go. And Lori Ormond, Threat Level 2, has been a member for 4 months, says, come on, Barbie, F patriarchy, ooh yeah, singing out loud. Catherine Evergreen for $5, Alan, Snow White would have been a great choice for Asian rep, still white skin, natural black hair, and still diverse cast. Asians don't count. Alan, your thoughts?
No, look, if anything, I think Asians have enough self-respect not to be involved in the Snow White project. So I will go ahead, make your Snow White movie without us. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Big Worm for $2 says, we saw the bait and switch coming, not normies though. EA Nanes for 250 pesos. Asian, we're half represented. There's a Jewish Filipino Barbie apparently. Easy to miss, but there. Nice lip service. Jim Eagle for $5. Ken isn't allowed into the patriarchy because he's smooth down there. Evar Yantz for $5. To be honest, thought that Barbie was going to be the Lego movie for women, to have a fantastical setting of wonder, but really about a parent and child connecting.
Yeah, both had Will Ferrell in it. So,
well, there you go. There you go. And just one last page of super chats here. And then we have our special guest joining us within a minute. 50 Shades of Beige gifted 1 Film Threat membership. Geek Truth 64, Threat Level 1, has been a member for 3 months, says engaging marketing, but terrible targeted marketing. G Sata fan became a member. Thank you for that. Be like me. Buy Attack of the Doc today. Yes, you can go to shop.filmthreat.com. There is a choice. You can get a signed version or not signed version. There you go. Adrian Curry, Threat Level 1, has been a member for 12 months, says nerds. Thank you, Adrian Curry. Love you. Bass Player 2011-5 says, the film is on a platter. How can you screw that up? You don't have to do real changes or anything like that. Just make sure the lens is clean and light bulb doesn't go out, talking about Oppenheimer. Big Worm for 10 says, I want to take my 13-year-old son to Oppenheimer. Can we get details about the naughty scenes? I have to decide if it's too racy for him. I'm no prude. Any parent on the panel in the chat, please help. Alan, your thoughts? Would you take your daughter to Oppenheimer?
I mean, I would take her to it. I don't think she would go.
Yeah,
The length alone would keep her from going.
You think so?
Yeah. And also the subject matter. That's just not something she's into.
All right. Well,
believe me, she had her chance to go and she didn't take it.
Yeah, there is the nude scene is it's not just graphic nude scene, it's gyration, it's sexual movement. 13 is borderline. Maybe 16. It was, to me, like, why you didn't even need the nude scenes in why is Oppenheimer rated R? They should have just and look, I love nudity in movies, don't get me wrong. Love nudity in movies. And just quick reminder before we get to our special guest today, the Attack of the Doc Ultimate Collector's Edition Blu-ray, go to shop.filmthreat.com. There's the signed edition. It's an additional $10, or you can get the standard edition for $29.99. Take your pick. There you go.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah. What?
We lost someone.
Oh, we lost him. We lost our special guest.
Yep.
All right. He'll be back.
Oh, no, he's back. By the way, for the record, I'm completely fine with the nudity.
Yeah, I also, you got to know your kid.
Yeah.
I have less of a problem with horror, but nudity, yeah, I don't know. That's maybe 15, 16.
I didn't feel like it was a distraction. I thought it was engaging. So thumbs up.
Yeah. All right. it's time to talk about, well, I'm not going to talk about it. The director, Nathan Faudree, is going to talk about it, and hopefully I pronounced his name correctly. He is joining us on the Film Threat Livecast to tell us about his film today, Site 13. I cannot wait to hear about the behind the scenes of this film. And Nathan, he has a storied career. This is crazy. Just as a writer and actor, he was okay. And not only this, one of my favorite trauma films, Poultrygeist, he provided monster noises. This is the most diverse career when you look at his resume. He was even in a Marvel fan film called Killgrave. And this film, Site 13, was a horror. It's a found footage horror film that's sort of Lovecraftian in nature that he spent 17 years working on. And Nathan is here on the Film Threat Livecast. 500 people watching us live. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I'm so happy you're here with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, I'm just so happy that I got to follow a discussion of nudity and gyration. So, I mean, really, that's the best introduction I could possibly get.
Well, nudity and Oppenheimer. But I got to know for this film, Site 13, and just to let people know, this movie is now on video on demand.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Came out today.
Came out today on VOD. Nathan, tell us about the film. And how did this thing take 17 years?
Well, I didn't work on it every day for 17 years. That would be completely insane. I only was marginally insane. And, I came on board the project, as an actor. I had worked with Tony Urban, who was the original director. And he wanted to do a found footage movie. And I had worked with him on such storied films as Cottontail, where I played a killer Easter bunny. Yes, my mother was very proud and happy that all of those classes of Shakespeare that I took, finally paid off. Anyway, we did this found footage movie. It was all improvised. It was, Tony came up with the idea of what it was about and told us what our characters were. And then I went kind of crazy with the mythology a little bit, and we went and filmed it. And Tony retired about, 6 months later. He retired he got sick of the film business and retired to become an author. He's written several books now. He's a photographer. And so, anyway, so he was done. We were just like, oh, that's too bad. That actually, there was some cool stuff in that footage, I think. And I would talk periodically with Kelly Ray, one of the other actresses in it, and over the years, and we would go, Site 13, there was some good stuff in that. Too bad that it'll never see the light of day. And, about 10 years later, I came up with an idea that I would film a present day portion and use the old footage as, as flashback material. And, mainly born out of this idea that I might be getting away with something I only have to film half a movie. That didn't end up I didn't get away with anything. I, ended up having to edit 3 movies essentially. But yeah, so I approached Tony and said, here's my idea. He said, I think I've got the footage on a hard drive in the attic somewhere. And so I started writing based off of what I could remember from 10 years ago. And he sent me the footage, and then it really was a series of just calling in favors after that point. I mean, because I like you said, I'd worked on a bunch of different like little indie projects over the years, and so this was my chance to call in those favors and go, hey guys, remember when I worked on your movie? Guess what? I'm doing a movie now. So we started filming, and that was in 2016. And then it took a long time through post-production because, then we had to edit the present day movie, the old movie, and then we had to put those 2 movies together. So all of that energy that I thought I was saving by only having to shoot half a movie ended up being taken up in the post-production. But yeah, kept going with it.
Wow. Well, first of all, I got to compliment you on your bats in the background. I
Thank
love
you.
the little bat
Thank
themed
you.
stuff. I am also obsessed with bats. My car is kind of Batman themed. I love that. But you may have, I don't know if it's the records that, and you're right, you didn't work on it every day for 17 years, but a 17-year span from beginning to release that's nuts. But also, like, I love that kind of like just stick with itness to like not give up. Like, I've been working on a documentary for over 10 years that may see the light of day next year. We'll see. And
Nice.
David Lynch famously, when he made Eraserhead, that was over the course of years. I think almost 10 years he spent working. It was like a college project that he sort of kept working on it. It's crazy. But we've got a lot of questions in the chat. Oh my God, the chat's on fire. So let's get to some of these chat comments and questions. Akanika says, welcome, Nathan. Solomon Thornton, welcome, Sir Nathan. Lubitch Touch Me asks, what would you say is the horror film that influenced you the most to want to make horror films?
Oh, Evil Dead, easily. That was the one. Actually, it was Evil Dead 2. That was the one that really showed me that horror movies could be fun. That was sort of my entrance into it, because up until that point, I was terrified of horror movies and I wouldn't watch them. And I was a little scaredy cat. And when I saw Evil Dead 2, that was when I was like, oh wait, these are kind of awesome. And that was my entrance, and Sam Raimi is a god. Cool.
And then Sons and Shadows became a member. Nice. But here, this is interesting. Just watched the trailer, gave me vibes of Prince of Darkness and The Ring, says Introspect M.
100% Prince of Darkness. 100%. I listened to the soundtrack while I was writing the script.
Cool. Dawn of Mutilation says, and on the theme of cosmic horror, do you know what the SCP Foundation is? And if so, any chance on doing something with that? Site 13 is an SCP too.
I had only discovered this probably about 7 years into the project. So it was like I don't know a lot about SCP right now, but it was one of those things that I'm like, oh, this seems really interesting. And so I have not done a deep dive in it yet, but it is in my wheelhouse, and that is kind of my jam. So I'm investigating.
Cool. And then Spidey Sensei 72. This guy might actually beat Chris for coolest hair. Hey guys, come on.
Okay, let's not go crazy here. It's good, but not that good.
Razorburn says, any future plans to put the movie on DVD, Blu-ray? Will it have cool extra material? I would love to see that, because the behind the scenes of how this project came to fruition is fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, the as with everything with this movie, it's a slow rollout, So right now we're at North America. Next will be worldwide, and I assume that probably by the time I actually get it out on DVD, Blu-ray, we will be able to accurately say that it's a 25th anniversary.
Cool. And Davina Duckworth, just to add context, says SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect, which is the organization's motto. She goes on to say, fans of weird internet fiction use SCP as shorthand for the Special Containment Procedures Foundation, a fictional organization that investigates, captures, and contains paranormal phenomena.
I want to work on that movie. That sounds amazing.
Solomon Thornton, any advice for new filmmakers, and what is the best way to budget a film?
The biggest thing that I found is that as far as like with budget, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Like I knew that I was not going to get like Ralph Fiennes or Anthony Hopkins to be in this movie, so I didn't have to come up with a huge budget. But the thing is that they don't charge you the budget up front. It's not like they go, okay, this movie's going to cost this amount of money to make. You have to pay that now. We just started making the movie, and as stuff came along, we paid for it. If we couldn't get it for free, if we couldn't get someone else to, volunteer their services. So that's my advice is to just start going, just do it. It'll take a long time. That's the only thing with that route is that it's not easy, but I learned so much making this movie that, you know, like, I can only hope that the future movies are going to be even better because of it.
Right. Let's see. Was Blair Witch one of your inspirations to film in that style?
100%. That, like, initially, the initial found footage idea was filmed in 2003. So that was like right at the tail end of the whole Blair Witch thing, where everybody was excited by that. So that was absolutely the inspiration. By the time we came back to it, that was almost a detriment at that point, with so many people going like, "Oh, this is a Blair Witch ripoff." So that's why that inspired the whole present day sequence.
Well, Blair Witch, technically speaking, is also a ripoff of what's that film? Is it
Cannibal Holocaust?
Cannibal Holocaust. That's it.
Yeah.
Zodlander for 20 Swedish krona. I love the trailer. Where can I see it in Sweden?
It will be coming out worldwide later this year.
Okay, that's great to hear. And then Greasy Guido says, I see H.P. Lovecraft mentioned in the movie description. Are there any Lovecraftian type creatures? Maybe you don't want to say.
There are.
Okay.
Initially I thought I was going to, I was approaching it with the idea of doing it Lovecraft, because in Lovecraft stories, they always talk about the monster and you never really see it. But when I was writing the script, I realized if I just have people talking for the entire thing and they never see a monster, they're going to set me on fire. So we put a monster in. There is.
Yeah. Question. I get motion sick easy. Will I be able to watch Site 13? Asks Imperfect.
Yes, because most of it is not found footage.
Okay. Oh, how do you pronounce your last name? Asks Akanika.
You did pronounce it correctly, Faudree. Yeah.
Oh, Faudree. Awesome. And also goes on to say, how do you keep your hair so on point? Looks great.
Thank you. My boyfriend is a hairstylist, so I got lucky.
So you get a good discount.
Absolutely. I mean, we all pay in certain ways, but you know, yeah.
I'm sure he experiments once in a while.
Oh yeah. So,
And
but
then-
I got a good one right now.
And then do you have any future projects you're currently working on?
Yeah, I actually have a movie with Barb House, which is the one that produced A Wounded Fawn, that I co-wrote. And so a new script of mine called Penitent will be filming this fall. We've got some cool names that are almost attached to it, so we'll see. But because it's an independent film, we've got the SAG waiver, which is good. So they can keep filming.
That's the best thing about independent film. I mean, independent film, they're calling it the dumb buzzword now is decentralized. It's independent film. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really hoping that the upshot of a lot of this these waivers is that we get another wave of that independent film wave like in the 90s and the 70s.
It's going to be, I believe it's going to be a new golden age of indie film.
I
believe
really,
that's what's coming. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as it doesn't affect Dune Part 2 and the Marvels from coming out, I hope the strike goes on longer, because I can't wait for both of those movies. I'm
100% with you.
Yeah. Dawn of Mutilation, will we get more cosmic horror from you? I hope so.
I love cosmic horror, just because it's so different and we haven't had a lot of it. So it's hard to pitch cosmic horror though, because a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of the people with money, shall we say, do not understand it's an entity from beyond our dimension, as opposed to it's a demon. So a lot of the times I will say demon in the script and then sneak in extra dimensional entity later.
Cool. Well, just want to say, Nathan Faudree, thank you so much for being on the show today. Site 13 is on video on demand today. Rent it, buy it, get it. It's on all the VOD platforms, I assume. And then do me a favor though, don't wait another 17 years to make a movie.
I know. I'm like really hoping the next is maybe just 3 or 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable amount of time for an
so,
independent film. Fantastic. And where can people find you on social media? If you're on social media,
I'm most active on Instagram, so it's at Danger Yak, which is the production company. So DANGERYAK, Danger Yak.
Danger Yak, love it. Follow Danger Yak on Instagram. Nathan, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Congratulations on the film. You did not. This is what I like to tell independent filmmakers. You want to be successful. There's one thing: never give up.
Absolutely,
never give up. And your journey just really inspired me. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been an awesome. I mean, I'm really glad to have this be part of my journey. So thanks, guys.
Take care, Nathan. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. Later. Awesome. That was great. What a great guy. What a great guy. We've got some more super chats and things here. We'll wrap up the show by going through some chat comments and questions. So let's do that. Let's go to your final comments and questions here. Hey, Metal Slave became a YouTube member. Big Jojo for $9.99. Chris and Alan, do you have any favorite comic artists? Mine is Barry Windsor Smith. Oh, Barry Windsor Smith. Amazing. For myself, Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby. I'm going to go classic. Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, George Perez, and also, the illustrator for Watchmen. Why am I spacing on that person's name? I'm so sorry. Illustrator of the Watchmen. Worked with Alan Moore. It's on the tip of my tongue. And then, I like Frank Miller. I like his sort of just, it's art. Like if you look at The Dark Knight Returns, that's sort of like him paired with Klaus Janson and colorist. It's just,
Dave Gibbons.
Dave Gibbons. Yes, Dave Gibbons. Yeah. Those are some of my personal favorite. Alan, what about yourself?
Mine, when I first started collecting, it was John Byrne. Another artist that impacted me that I always think about is Bill Sienkiewicz. And
yes, Bill Sienkiewicz. Love Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, and then and near the end, I was becoming a big fan of Walt Simonson.
Wow. Okay, great question. Yeah. Slayer 96, second for 2. Go see my animation. Where? Post a link.
Yeah. Post
a link in the chat, please.
Yeah. Or
Over on Rumble, Lord Shax. Chris, your hair looks blue. Alan, your hair rocks Brock.
No, Rooks Brack.
Rooks Brack. Oh God. Alan, your hair rooks Brack. Love the show.
Awesome.
Oh my God. Well, it's weird. My hair, because it's silver. People say it's white. It depends on the lighting. I've got like 3 sort of ring lights around me to kind of light my background and myself. So my hair can look different depending on how it's lit. Yeah. This is how I like my hair. It's sort of silver. Looks like it could cut you like a knife. Beerosaurus Rex, threat level 1, has been a member for 11 months. Says, thanks guys and mods for the stream as always. Well, thank you back for being here. And from Rumble, Gabby Rios 59, 194629 says, yes, Sound of Freedom is going overseas starting August and will hit the UK in September. This is going to be a global hit.
Mm-hmm.
And what concerns me is the way that this movie is being smeared in the media is BS.
The thing is that that's what American or Western media is going after. I think the rest of the world knows it's a problem. And and this movie speaks. I think this is. I think Paulie was saying that this movie is making a great impact in Mexico and South American countries. Yeah. So for some reason, the United States, the greatest purveyor of all this, is trying to smear this movie.
Hey, Shrek PMC, Gore inspired me to stop dyeing it. You ready? Okay. I dyed my hair one time. And it looked like in Photoshop, when you click a button, it says fill, and it was all one color. I looked stupid. This is when I was like in my mid 30s. I was like, I'm just going to dye it. It looked awful. I vowed I will never dye my hair again. And I can always spot a bad dye job on a man. For some reason, men's hair, this could be controversial. Men's hair is different than women's hair. Women's hair, you can dye it and not even notice. And they put in, sort of shades, because even when hair is one color, it's not all one color, right? So I just stopped dyeing it. It's sort of weird. It depends on the light. It looks better sort of in darker situations. But yeah, Shrek PMC, join me. Like, just go natural. Like, you got to kind of just embrace who you are, you know? Like, one of the things I always loved about Kevin Smith when he was overweight was he would just make the first overweight joke about himself. He was aware of it. Now he's gotten in shape post heart attack. Good for him. But you know what? Accept yourself for who you are. Your hair, or whether you're bald. Look at Patrick Stewart. You can make a list of sexy bald men. Baldness is not the men that are ashamed of being bald. Embrace it. Bald women like bald men. Gay men like bald men. Bald is a whatever. Silver hair. Just accept yourself and then embrace it. I think that confidence, when you accept who you are, that is a very attractive trait. So there. And Crazy Cat harassing me today. I love it. Chris is the last person who should be giving hair advice. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I literally just wake up and whatever my hair, you're getting my bed head. It's not like I tried to make my hair look like this. Thank you, Crazy Cat.
By the way, someone just died at Disney World.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, they fell off the balcony at the Contemporary.
Okay, put up the link to the article right now.
Okay, I gotta
find the article. I'm going to go through more chat questions.
Okay.
Thank you for that. And thank you, Crazy Cat. Barbie and hair care, how far have we fallen? Said Len Barnett. Hey, we're just having fun. We're ending the show reading your chat questions. I am only talking about hair because you brought it up. You brought up hair. Yeah, we could talk about coffee.
Well, there was a hair fight between you and Nathan.
Was there? Yeah, we could talk about coffee and the Film Threat coffee mugs you can get at shop.filmthreat.com. Len Barnett, come on, we're having fun. It's Friday. I'm going to the Dodgers tonight with my buddy Grady. We're going to see a Dodger game. Very excited. Oh, and this weekend I will be at Midsummer Scream in Long Beach with Alan on Saturday. Yeah. What time
are you going to be there, by
Alan?
the way?
I'm going to get there about noon.
Okay, yeah, I'll be there in the afternoon at some point.
Okay, and then I'm going to hang out. I'm going to hang out with my buddy Johnny Brandstetter. But Len Barnett, cut us some slack. It's the weekend. Imperfect. Chris's hair is perfect, period. I'll take that. And Dodger dogs suck, says Rumple.
They are overrated. I will say that.
I think they are overrated, and I am going to eat one. Come on. Okay, did you find the article?
2 foot long. Did
you find the article?
Long. Yeah, I posted it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where? No, it says I don't see it in the private chat.
Oh no, okay. I thought you meant the chat. Here.
Like I'll bring up the article. Oh my God. Okay. All right, we're just gonna share this. All right. Wow. Here we go, folks. We're going to end on a crazy note here. Man dies in fall from Disney World Deluxe Resort balcony. Police in Florida say a man has been found dead this week at Walt Disney World's Contemporary Resort, located next to the popular Magic Kingdom theme park. The victim, identified by the Orange County Medical Examiner as 39-year-old Jeffrey Vandam Boom of Greendale, Wisconsin, died from blunt force trauma in what has been ruled as accidental fall from the hotel room balcony.
Yikes.
Wow. He was pronounced deceased at the scene. Okay. That's okay. I thought it
there's a quote at the bottom.
What's the quote say?
Let me get to it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Witness says, quote, I'm pretty sure someone just died at our hotel.
We got a call at 7:30. Someone had a medical emergency and not to go to the balconies. And then they had people redirecting us, wrote a Reddit user. And then we went outside and there was a tent set up right under the balcony. It's all taped up. That's where the body was.
Yeah.
Because, yes, it can get messy.
Yeah. Especially at that particular hotel.
Then it goes on to it points out other deaths at Disneyland. Last year, an 83-year-old Florida veteran died after riding an amusement at Walt Disney World. An amusement? And then it's just going to list people who died at Disneyland.
Come on.
This is probably not our wheelhouse here. So there you go. We're gonna end it there.
Clownfish will do a
Clownfish will do 20-minute video on it. And there you go. A few last things. Metal Slave just became a YouTube member. Join us in the Discord. Ms. P Coffee is going to post the refreshed Discord link in the community tab, only visible to members. Oh, and next week we're doing a giveaway. Next week, I think we might be doing, are we doing 2 giveaways? I think we're doing a giveaway of the 4K digital release of Enter the Dragon, starring Bruce Lee.
I'm gonna win that one.
Well, it's you know what? I rewatched it recently because I realized I already have it. I rewatched it recently. First of all, there's a lot of nudity in that movie. I forgot about that. But Bruce Lee's the main character. He was the first Asian to ever be in a movie. No, I can't stand
first Asian to ever appear in a movie as an Asian.
Right. No, he Asians have been in movies. Well, I mean, in Asian cinema, it's completely.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, Charlie Chan, Breakfast at Tiffany's, even Alec Guinness played an Asian man.
Well, there you go. All right, that's it for us today. We will be back next week. Hollywood on the Rocks returns regularly on Wednesdays. Zodlander became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. So Hollywood on the Rocks, Wednesdays, we'll be back at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Our regular show, we're going to talk TV and movies. We'll have on guests. We have some really good guests coming up. A week from today, Jackie Martling from the Howard Stern Show is going to be here today, or a week from today. We're going to talk about his documentary, Joke Man. So we'll discuss that. We'll talk to Jackie Martling. There's some amazing guests coming up in August. Now that we have 2 free slots, we'll be doing more filmmaker and interviews and whatnot. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Oh, and premiering next Tuesday on the Film Threat YouTube channel. And every Tuesday and Thursday, brand new episodes of DVDuesday. I have gone through my personal collection and brought out the rare discs, the bootlegs, the oddities. I talk about laser discs, weird sort of things from my collection. Every Tuesday and Thursday, new episodes of DVDuesday. There are, I think we have 40 episodes from now until Christmas that we're going to be putting out. Let me know what you think of DVDuesday. Every Tuesday and Thursday, a new episode. Alan, what do you got coming up this weekend? Oh, Midsummer Scream. Alan and I will be there tomorrow. I'll get there around noonish.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing is Midsummer Scream. Is that it?
Midsummer Scream. It's all horror.
Yeah, and it's at the Long Beach Convention Center. So I will see you all there.
Center. If you're there, look for a tall Asian guy. He will be the only one.
Next to a short, gray-haired troll.
I'm not short. I'm 5'10". I'm 5'10", and my hair adds another 2 inches. So I'm technically 6 foot. I am technically 6 feet tall.
There you go.
So,
I beat you by an inch.
There you go. Hey, and thank you to Lord Thoth for helping today with the chat. Thank you to Ms. Pete Coffee, our intrepid. I don't know. I'm going to give her a raise to producer. I think she's a producer of the show. Works very hard.
Producer? I mean, really.
Producer. We have Glenn Brown, our producer, and Ms. P Coffee. So there you go. Excellent. And thank you just to you. You were an amazing jury. Our Star Trek. All we've been doing is talking about ideas of how we can make Critics Court better. With the stuff that we're coming up with, we're going to need a couple months to kind of, reset. It's probably going to take us at least a couple months to get to 100,000.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably looking at next year. This happening.
Well, we'll see. We could do it before the end of the year. We get to 100,000 subs. We are going to lay down the charges. Mm-hmm. That'll be our celebration. We get to 100,000 subs. We will bring back Critics Court, an episode where you in the chat and the jury will decide what are the charges against CBS and Paramount. What are the charges? What are they? What are we alleging? And you will participate in that as we did last time. It will be a special episode of Critics Court, but we must get to 100,000 subs. Alan, anything else?
Nope.
You're not?
No, just keep going to filmthreat.com. We actually have a review of Talk to Me up online right now.
Cool. Alan, what I heard a rumor
Now,
about
this just in, police officers in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, were asking people to be on the lookout for a man who robbed a store. And I think we do have his description. Can we take that? Let's take his description.
Yeah, I'm going to be
Alan,
in Street Fighter. I'm in the new Street Fighter gear.
You look great. You look great. All right, Alan, take us out.
Let's get out of here.
Take care, everybody.